Hello, welcome. I've come on here today to do a little riff on peace, inner peace, sanity, mental well-being, and liberation. What does it all have to do with each other? What does that mean for you? All right, let's get into it. First of all, insanity is identification with the mind above God. Now, when I say God, I mean God, Goddess, the Tao, the flow of life. I mean present moment experience, truth above the chatterings and the stories in the mind. I mean that yin and yang converging into oneness and truth and limitlessness beyond all that is knowable, and that same force permeating all that is individual and knowable. I speak of it all. So when I say God, it is not a particular religion or set of beliefs, right? It's this force that I'm describing. And when I talk about your spirit, I talk about that kind of seat of consciousness, that connection with God, that you that is observing all of the events of your life, of your mind, of your everything. So the spirit is inextricable with God. It is God and the unique slant as it shines through you. When I talk about the mind, I'm speaking of, well, you know, the mind. All the different thoughts and stories and also structures, right? So oppressive, self-serving, ego-serving structures that imprison and entrap and cloud truth and bring further suffering and illusion are all projections of the mind. They exist outside of us just as much as they exist within us. That's why we build them and unfortunately uphold them. However, I believe we can be committed to collective liberation because collective liberation is our liberation. Because we are all connected. So, why is liberation sanity? Well, to be liberated is to be liberated from the illusions of the mind. And to be liberated from the illusions of the mind means to serve God, serve the present moment above serving the ego, above serving the mind, above serving the individual. When we exalt the ego and the individual mind desires, we exalt insanity. Because first of all, if you ever make life about what you want as an individual above all else, you are first and foremost missing reality. Now, what do I mean by this? I mean that all this, and this, I see this a lot, like in manifestation. Oh my God, I could talk about manifestation forever. There's a lot to unpack there. But what I'll say right now is that if you are trying to make things happen for yourself, you are missing the point. Because life is not about what you want. It's not. When you walk outside in the morning and you complain about it being rainy and cloudy, do you think that matters? Because maybe you want it to be sunny and the person down the road loves the rainy and cloudy and the other person down the road doesn't care. It's not about what you want. Things happen because they're happening. All kinds of things. If we're taking the weather, it's weather patterns. I got this from Mickey Singer, right? He's a spiritual leader here in Gainesville, Florida, and he talks a lot about this. Like, there are so many forces at play, cause and effect, right? There's the earth, a rock floating through space around the sun. There's seasons, there's this, there's that, there's people, there's all kinds of causes and effects all coming together and converging in any one moment to create the reality that exists. And if we decide that that is about us as an individual, it's about what we think is best, what we want for ourselves, we have just narrowed. And also, we are not in full sanity. And therefore not in full liberation. Even if you're really, really good at getting what you want. And there's levels to that game, okay? There's people who strive and work for what they want. They have this belief that if they work really hard, then they deserve it. And they like set up this whole game of their life to make that happen for them, okay? And then there's other people who do it in like a more fun, kind of witchy, feminine way, where they're like, well, no, I don't need to work, right? Like, I can like call it to me. I can be the vibration of what I want and call that in. Now, I will say there's a little something to that I do want to get into in terms of like being in the energetic state that you want to be in. I do think I want to circle back to that as a valuable thing. But I will say that even with that tactic of manifestation, if you make it too much about what you want, you're still listening to the mind and your own ego's desires and your own individual desires above what the flow of life and what God is moving through you. And to have that level of faith and that level of trust is where we find that true liberation. It's where we find actually true health and true sanity. Because we are no longer subservient in any way to the mind. The mind becomes completely subservient to us. It is a tool that we then wield, a sword we wield to cut through the nonsense and continue to fight for collective liberation. So, circling back to the good part of some of these manifestation tactics is being in the energetic state that you want to be in. So, what I want to say about that is that if you find yourself being like pulled around by all the things happening around you, right? So chaos, this, that, it's like, you know, who's president and like what's happening over there and what's this person saying and like this person says something mean to me and I like can't handle all of that coming at me and I can't do it and nobody's taking it, blah, blah, blah. Okay. You are not in control of your energetic state. And you're just going to keep creating more and more scenarios of this energetic state that you're in. You're essentially continuing to give rise to it. And it can look like it's everybody else's fault. It can look like, yeah, but so-and-so did this and like so-and-so did that. But really, you are reinforcing it. And you will continue to find yourself in that. What's really, really important there is to come underneath, go deeper. A good way to do this is physical sensation. I talk about this in some of my courses. I talk about this with clients. It's basically work somatically with the sensation and find out like what core need is not being met. What is the inner child asking for? I actually have this theory that a lot of people right now have an inner child that needs to be validated. Like it's literally just validation that's really needed, because I see it in a lot of friendships, like in situations where people are in this situation where they're wronged in some way, and then they go to people that are like on their side, and then they're looking for just like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. I'm like, you're so right. And like, that's about as far as it goes, right? There's just that happening again and again. I don't know if you've ever witnessed this or been a part of it. It's actually not very productive. What's happening there is that an inner child is needing so deeply to be seen by you. Nobody else, by you. And until that happens, you're just going to keep looking for that. Now, to come in and meet that core need it is actually its own workshop. I have a workshop called Energetic Mastery. It's self-paced, it's on demand, you can get it anytime. And that actually dives a lot into that, how to meet that need physically in your body all the time. Of course, like it helps to kind of work together to see, okay, what's really going on with you? Because guess what? The mind is so tricky. Like I even experienced this with people who've, come into my world a little bit. Like it's identified that that's the need, but then to allow that space, that rest, that validation, it's very difficult because it doesn't always feel safe. And then like you start to try to find safety in the body, and that's really important. But I can't stress this enough, like it's not going to work instantly. It's a practice. It's a lifestyle. If you don't know what safety feels like, pretend. What is safety in your shoulders? Well, if safety were a character, if you were writing a character for a TV show, and this was the essence of safety in a person's body, what would that be? Jaw would probably be relaxed. What would the spine do? What would the fingers do? What would the bridge of the nose do? What would the breath do? Safety. Give it to yourself in the body. in this moment. Your mind it's still gonna go. I don't want you to think that this is like, and now that I've done that once, we're good, inner peace. You're stuck in a pattern, okay? So like it's gonna keep saying, but nobody gets me, but nobody's listening to me, but this keeps happening, but that's happening again, and that's happening again, and it's not my fault, and I just wanted to... It's okay. I'm here. It makes sense for you to be angry. You don't give yourself safety in the body by denying what you're feeling. It makes sense. It makes sense. It makes sense that she's angry. It is unfair. It's not okay. It makes sense, okay? Yeah. It's okay to feel that way. It's okay to feel that way. Yeah, it's okay to feel that way. Okay, and then you give this safety as a gift, not with a secret agenda of like, I just want the suffering to be over. No, you just give it to yourself because you know that's what she needs. You give the understanding, the space for her to rest. And you do it for yourself in the body, in the moment, and you do it in your activities. You tune into this and you say, oh my gosh, okay, time for some rest. And it's going to feel like a lot. You're going to be like, my God, my inner child needs this all the time. All the time, okay? This is normal. This is normal. It might seem like a lot of quote unquote work, but really what's going on here is you're pouring into yourself. So at first it's going to feel separate for a lot of you. At first it's going to feel like you're doing something for somebody else, and then it will become slowly but surely very clear that it is actually quite literally you're pouring into yourself. And as you give this to yourself all day, every day, you find little ways to do it in your body, in your breath, all day, every day, your whole entire life will change. Your whole entire life will change. Now this starts to free us. This really does. This really starts to free us up because we begin to realize on a body level that we don't need the mind. We don't need the mind and its fears and its stories and its anxieties and its like nonsense in order to be safe. And we realize, in fact, it has not been doing a very good job of keeping us safe anymore. And this doesn't have to be a hateful thing. It's just like, okay, I see that. I see why this arose. I see why this pattern of needing the validation and people to have my back. Like, of course, I'm looking for that everywhere I go. It makes so much sense. We can thank it for its service in that way. But then also really come to realize that it's actually not helping, right? But honestly, the best way to do that is to just is to show, not tell, right? Show your inner child that you're showing up, that you're always validating her, that you're always listening to her, that she's never too much, that she's your best friend, she's the coolest fucking person in the world, and you want to hang out, and you want to look her in the eyes and tell her that you love her, and you want to give her a hug. And you want to shower her with safety and love and attention and everything, and it could never possibly be too much. And you will begin to feel that in your body. And then freedom from the mind becomes so much easier because you're starting to feel like it's okay to be free from the mind. Maybe it's okay. Could it possibly be okay? Now, some people do this through religion, right? You could be Christian, for example. I'm not religious, right? I work with some Christian people or other religions sometimes, and you can look at that and take that belief, that word of God, you can like really tap into that. That having faith in that can help you let go. It can help you let go of the mind. It can help you surrender to this thing that is greater than you and give you that sense of safety so that you're able to jump off the cliff. That's why it works. People get really caught up in the validity of all the, like, is it right or wrong or true or not? Like, it's truth. Truth is not a stagnant thing. Truth is not definable. Truth is also never really threatened. Truth permeates the present moment. And so, as with anything, religion has truth in it and shining through it, and it also has just as much capability for story and illusion. It has the mind as well. But that doesn't mean it can't be useful, a useful boat, a useful avenue to the same truth. So I think it's great. I think it works really well, honestly. Even though I'm not of a particular religion, I think it's wonderful. Okay? But if you are in that religion to just further cement illusions of your mind and of those stories, well then unfortunately you're just going to keep suffering. And it's not gonna function as the boat to spiritual truth that it's designed to be, right? It's not gonna function as that. It's gonna become yet another reinforcer of the mind that you've become a prisoner to and therefore stuck in insanity, which is really just a clouding of the truth, of the spirit, of the liberation that always exists within you. Liberation of the spirit is never truly threatened. Truth, love, liberation, God, it's not truly threatened. It's just clouded from our conscious perception. We get lost. We lose touch with it. But it's always there. So, if you find yourself judging that a lot, like judging other people, whether it be because of a certain religious belief or a certain political belief, like no matter how wrong they may be, if you find yourself always in that state of mind of like, this person's wrong, that thing's wrong, this thing's wrong, you might want to slow down. You're going to slow down and take a look within. Because the reason that's bothering you so much, the reason that like them being wrong or being dangerous or being this or being that, and it really fires you up, yes, I bet you there's a little prisoner of the mind stuff going on inside of you, which honestly, no judgment, it's all of us. So many of us, right? To different degrees in different ways, but it's okay. It's okay. Like, yeah, people are wrong a lot. People are right a lot. What's right here might be wrong there. What's right in this way might be wrong in that way. An attachment to right and wrong is a safety mechanism. What's really being threatened? What are you really worried about? What are you really scared of? Go to that. Go to that core within you. It threatens your security. It threatens your safety. Your sense of self, all kinds of things, right? Meet the need inside of yourself. It's so important. It doesn't mean we don't do activism work. I'm all about that. Because I'm all about embodying collective liberation and being of service to that as much as possible. Okay? So when you're in the moment and something's happening, you're going to be devoted to that and you're going to act and it's going to be natural. It's going to come forward from you. Not from the stories and from the mind and from the anxieties. It's just going to come out of you, okay? It's going to happen. You're there. You're with it. You're living in your purpose, right? So what I really want you to see here is that coming in and like seeing that it's a mirror, that you're so activated by the right and wrong of it all and the judgment because of an unmet need within you. Oh, I can feel how hard this is for people. I can just feel it. I'm like, because instantly that voice again is going to start saying, but they're wrong, but they're dangerous, but they're this, but they're validate. Come back. We're right back at the beginning. Validate the inner child. Yes. It makes so much sense. It makes so much sense to be angry. It makes so much sense. Yes. I'm right here with you. And all I'm doing is giving you a gift of knowing that I see you, that I feel you, that I'm holding you, that you're safe, that you're loved, that you can rest. I'm right here. I'm holding you. You're okay. You're okay. As you do this more and more and more and more and more, the mind projecting and freaking out, it starts to quiet down because it's not actually keeping you safe. It's usually not helping people either. It's actually almost never. It's like we're usually able to help people despite that, but not because of it. Of course you will help people. You are an extension of unconditional love, of compassion, of liberation. Beyond all the stories and the this and the that and what if this is right versus wrong and what can you do right now? You can liberate yourself from your mind. Ooh, you can cut through the noise and the illusions and the nonsense and breathe in that spaciousness of an unthreatened truth, not connected to any of these stories or beliefs or opinions or whatnot. or whatnot. Got this. And with all that extra energy that you don't spend on freaking out about those mirrors and projections and mind garbles and labyrinths that you get lost in for days, flipping out, guess what you have energy for? Yourself, your community, showing up for what's right in front of you. And that brings me to choosing the energetic state. But it's not just choosing this energetic state of like, I'm a rich lady. I mean, no judgment, right? Like, I'm not saying, you know, whatever, like, it's okay, you know, I can have some fun in the world, whatever. I guess what I'm saying though is that, like, you're not embodying an energetic state to get something that your mind wants, because that's just another backdoor way of being trapped by the mind. You're embodying an energetic state because it is of service, because you are that flavor, that reflection of God. So you don't embody an energetic state in like, yeah, connected to any story. It's not to get something. It's not to do something specific in service of you. It's to embody joy, to embody gratitude, to embody liberation. Because of course that's what you're going to choose. You're not going to choose, I'm going to embody suffering. No, the hurt parts of you are going to choose that. They are choosing that. But you who knows they're okay, who's whole, who's present, you're going to choose to embody peace, spaciousness. Yeah, calm, quietness. I'm feeling that for a lot of you. That you're like, I want to embody that. And by doing that, you're even more free, even more open as a channel to let what's ready to come through you, come through you. By doing that, you are solving problems. You are of service to your community. And when you know how to solve those problems, you are creating value. You are accumulating value, okay? So you will have enough. It's going to flow to you. But first you need to really feel in yourself that you are enough, that you have enough, that you're okay. So go inward. Energetic Mastery is a little tiny mini course that's self-paced. So if you want to give that a try, please do so. It's by itself really incredibly useful, liberating. And of course, I do often take people through all 13 ghost points. It's coming up soon, actually. Toward the end of February, about a month from now, possibly beginning of March, I'm going to be taking a group through the 13 ghost points, which I use as a tool for liberation from the mind. It's an ancient treatment protocol. Ooh, so good. Helps detangle us from all this stuff while we meet those needs and really feel into the truth of our beings. So it's really powerful work, kind of like a rebirth, shedding of all that is ready to go so that the new evolution of you can really come forward. If you're interested in learning more about that, about the 13 ghost points and about how that fits into everything I spoke about today, go ahead and reach out. I'd love to hear from you. Would love to start the conversation and get to know you in your journey. Or you can check out the link and learn more yourself. All right. Hope to connect and talk to you soon. So much love to you all. May you be liberated from the mind. I guess I like singing. Okay, bye.